Hello and welcome back to the ministry. And today we're talking about complacency in movement. First thing I want to say is every time you come to a place where it's time to grow, you must start to move. And in that movement, you're going to see the growth in which you seek. So, what do I mean by complacency though? Complacency is you feel comfortable, you feel relaxed, you feel like you need to stay in this place. Now, one might say, oh, but if you're comfortable in your complacency, then what does that have to do with the oxymoron of movement? Let the siren be your guide. That's a danger zone. You're in danger when you sit in complacency too long because there is no growth. And you're going to end up in a place where you feel frustrated. Ask me how I know. I've gone through multiple cycles of this very thing. But the Lord has blessed me in the fact that every time I get into this place, my coach pops up with something that she's doing that sets me back on track. So I've been, if you noticed, I've disappeared for a couple of days. I've been seeking out balance. And it's not even balance, it's a harmony. God has given me so many things over the years to put my hands to, and I've been in a place of, yes, these are the things that, Lord, you've given me to put my hands to, but it's a lot of different things, and they all seem like they're out of order. How am I supposed to work these things together? And this right here is a lesson in seeking God. Because when you seek God, and you've heard me say this before, where anything, for those of y'all that love kingdom marriage stuff, even when you're seeking out your God-ordained spouse, you write down what you're seeking. You take what you've written down to the Lord in prayer, in fasting, because fasting is like a balm to whatever it is that you've been praying for. And you will see clarity and result by fasting over that thing. Then you're going to go through a series of trials and tests to prepare you for that thing. One set of trials is going to be to remove the things that are making you stay in that complacency. The other set of trials and tests is going to be a series of warfare that you may have to deal with in order to see that thing achieved. Demonic delay, other certain things that will occur that the Lord wants to see. How bad do you want it? Are you willing to go through the process to get it? Then after you go through your obstacle course, it's like boot camp. And after you've gone through this, it's time to then be able to, one, observe self, check in on self, because sometimes after you've gone through the obstacle course, you're at a point of exhaustion where you're like, I don't even want to know, no way. I'm talking about anything. Marriage, the business that you've been standing for, the home you've been standing for. You'd be like, I know I said I wanted the house on the hill over there that was huge, but now I'm just tired. Give me that little townhouse over there. I settle. And God be like, what did you ask me for though? Complacency. Then I'm pausing because I'm hearing the Lord. Because I'm hearing a course is coming from this. If you haven't noticed, I teach. But yeah, you got complacency will have you be like, I'm good. I said it right here. Them obstacles, that wilderness, that stuff, them. You ever seen that TV show? What is the name of it? It was right on the tip of my tongue. Ninja Warrior, where the people got to go through a series of obstacles in order to get to the other side. And some of them, they get knocked out in the middle of the process and all that type of stuff. But these aren't regular obstacles like I'm going to just jump over this and that. This is like, you got to swing on ropes, you got to walk through water, you got to balance on this, and you got to do that. And you have to have leg tension, tenacity, all this kind of stuff in order to get through. Some of y'all done went through that process and you was like, God, I didn't have the body built for that in the first place. And now I'm just like, Jesus, I'd be good being complacent right by here. That'd be all right. And God's like, no, I want you to keep moving because you're not realizing how close you are. And then you hear, how many of us heard the millions of messages that said, you're closer than you think. You're almost there. Please hold on a little bit longer. You're right at the brink of it. And you're like, bro, we done went through all the levels. I used to be a video game person. Either I was playing the video game or I was watching somebody else playing the video game. And to this day, I will sometimes, when I'm bored, I'll look up a video game for something that I liked, and I will watch the process of the game being played out. Why? It's a process. If you've ever played or watched a video game, the person doesn't start the game and then finish. They have to start the game, be strategic, think, and get to the other end of the game. And with every level, they deal with a different boss. But they could not skip from level 1 to level 3 because the boss on level 2 prepared them for the boss on level 3. And if they only had the equipment from having the knowledge of how to beat boss 1 and they hit 3, that's like, I've done this before. I wouldn't suggest it. But some of us are the kinds of people, we like a challenge. Most video games have an easy level, an intermediate level, and a hard level. That's like saying, I've played through this game on level 1. I'm going to skip intermediate, where I'm going to learn how to fight these bosses on a heavier level. Same game. And not die. Then jump straight to hard. A lot of us have tried to skip and jump straight to hard. And we're wondering why we got knocked flat on our backs with one hit. Because you weren't supposed to go from easy to hard or difficult. You were supposed to go to intermediate. But I want to beat this thing. I want to get to the place. You need the training to pass that level. What does that have to do with complacency and all the things? Sometimes, coming back to the levels, we're on level 1. We had to start somewhere. And see, the thing about it is sometimes God keeps talking, and when we hear God talking, we're like, oh God, that's good. Oh God, that's good. Oh God, that's good. Oh God, that's good. Here's our issue. God will give us 15 things, but that doesn't mean we were supposed to work on all 15 things with a synchronicity of at the same time. God was like, I needed you to work on that one thing. Work it out until you got to the point that I stopped talking, then move to the next thing. Now, we get to a point, and this is an example, where we start to, we got all the pieces, and we're like, I gotta make these pieces work together in a cohesion all the time. I'm speaking from what I know. I gotta get these pieces to work because God gave this to me, so I gotta get all of these pieces to work together. And it's like a person doing strength training, where you see them people that do that strength training where they got a parachute and they be running, and the strings on the parachute be going to them while they run. The resistance of the air going into the parachute gives them the resistance. But the point of that is saying it's resistance. The more strings, the more pieces, the more streams, especially when you're the one person carrying the weight of it, the more resistance to what? You moving forward. So what's the complacency? All them things working together is keeping you stagnant and complacent because you're not moving forward, and you're using the excuse of, hey, I'm working on all these things, so I'm doing the work, so it's not like I'm not doing the work. And the fact of the matter, and I'm going to give credit where credit's due, my coach said, that's not what you're supposed to be doing, because you're actually operating in a spirit of control, because you're trying to control everything and trying to use that as the excuse. I'm doing everything, so I'm obviously not complacent. But are you? I've got this analogy, and it came to me the other day. You ever see a spinning top? One of them spinning tops, low degrees. This is your warning. Pay close attention. You ever see a spinning top? You know how a spinning top works? It usually has a very wide middle part that's kind of blockish, and it all goes to a point. And sometimes it has a point at the top too. It's kind of like a diamond shaped. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. When you spin it, it spins on its axis. Imagine you're the point in which it's spinning on. The only reason that all the things that you're doing are operating is because you're the central point. As long as you're doing what you need to do, it's going to keep spinning. But notice this, it's spinning, meaning it's not operating in a way that's cohesive and in harmony. It's in chaos because it's spinning. But the second that you stop, what happens to a spinning top? Once it stops, the whole thing tips over. I'll let that sit there right there for a second. But I'm doing all the things. I can't be complacent. You're complacent in your chaos. You're not moving forward because you got resistance. You're not getting the things done, even though it looks like you are. You're doing things, but you're not completing anything. So maybe, just maybe now, you need to determine what you need to do in order to shift focus. Some of us have been working on pieces, but we're carrying the weight in the wrong place. What's our center? Just because it's our center doesn't mean that everything needs to be built there. Just because you've developed a thing doesn't mean everything is based on that one thing. Maybe you need to make sure that one thing is a part of the big picture, but you don't need to build on that one thing. You need to build an overarch that has a strong base, that each of these individual strands and parts can build up to, because you've been building backwards. Everything needs to have deep roots if you're going to build it, but you need to make sure that you are not operating in a place of stagnant complacency because you're technically sabotaging yourself because you want to use the excuse, I'm doing all the things, but I'm tired. You purposely making yourself tired. And I'm actually take that into the next message. I'm going to say this. You're doing it out of fear. Some people stay complacent because they're afraid to move forward. So they make the excuse. I'm doing everything. I should be moving forward. I'm moving, but you're moving, but you're not going anywhere. Ever seen a car that gets stuck in the mud or quicksand? The wheels are moving, but they ain't going nowhere. They're putting all their energy, and you can hear the motor stripping, but it's not going anywhere. Hold on. Let that be a sign of confirmation for you. That, yeah, sometimes you're saying that you want to go somewhere, but you're not moving at all. So maybe you need to shift your mindset and move your thought process in order to move. Is that making sense to you? With every level, you must grow. Some of us because of the fact that in our growing process, we fought. We made it past the level. We got here. Whew, that battle was hard. We want to sit there. We want to be like, hey, I'm good here. We good. I'll be all right. And God be like, nah. Now I got to move you to the next level because you already passed this one. I can't let you sit here. What would it be like if you're playing a video game and you still got 3 levels left and your character reaches the end of level 10 and you got to get to level 13 and your character gets to the end of level 10? They're like, whew, that last battle was a battle, man. I'm going to sit right here. And you'll be looking at the character like, yeah, we got 3 more levels to go. What you doing? I'm chill in this level. We good. We still got 3 levels to go. Let's go. I don't want to be playing this game forever. But I'm good. Complacency says I'm good. And I know I have been there where you just got out of the last battle, the last set of warfare, the last what have you, and you're like, God, can I just be done with all of this? I'm done. I'm physically exhausted. I'm numbed out. I don't want to do this no more. What is this? Why? And God's like, I know you're tired. I get it. You don't go no further. I understand. But you still got 3 levels to go. And it's so funny. Shantia, she did a word recently saying that she went on a hike recently and got to the top of the mountain. They were at the top. But in order to reach the peak, they could not go there because it was raining. God is raining abundance down upon us. And because we're seeing the sign of the rain, it's been raining here for about 3 days. We're seeing the sign of the rain. We think that we've made it to the top. But because we can't see the promise yet, we're like, yo, I'm tired. Where's the promise at? Complacency says, sit here. God said, I know. And this is actually a little bit of the teaching of something that I have for a program I'm working on. God's saying rest. I need you to rest here for a second. Not long. Not to get complacent in this space. But I need you to rest here for a second. I need you to recalibrate. I need you to reset. You're going to get up there. But I need you to stay here for a second. Don't think you're going to get complacent here because I'm going to still need you to move. But understand, you've got to move in the right direction. Some of us are in alignment. It's the choice and the decision we make now that will make the difference in whether we will see movement or we will just be moving. You can do movement and get nowhere and be complacent perfectly in the midst of the movement that you're doing. Or you can move with the right mindset that will move you forward into the thing in which you are seeking. Because see, the thing is, you got all the pieces to the puzzle. You know all of the parts. You're just complacent because some of y'all are dealing with fear. And the next word, I'm going to deal with that fear in a minute. Okay. Now let's see here. But that's where you're at. So you need to take an evaluation. Am I complacent? Or am I actually doing something? And if I'm complacent, what do I need to reevaluate? Remove, arrange, figure out in order to see actual movement towards the direction in which we've been seeking. See, for me, I'm going to be honest with you. I went through a 4-year period of wilderness that I believe took a lot out of me. And in that 4-year period of wilderness, not seeing movement the way that I was used to and consistently not seeing the movement I'd seen before moving forward, there was a level of operation that the Lord allowed me to go through in my early walk with Him, where I could move forward and see movement. And I got an idea. I want to reach out to this person. Let me reach out to this person. Let me go here. I go here. I'd inquire. I'd ask questions. Somebody might come to me. I've gotten opportunities to do certain things. I've worked I had a fashion blog that I actually worked with the newscaster for the local news station, and she featured me in her pamphlet at the fashion show. Sat front row seats in the local fashion shows and all of that kind of stuff. But I had this tenacity. If I wanted it, oh, they're doing a fashion show. Let me find out how much the tickets are. If I'm supposed to be there, it'll be within my price range. It was. I go, I take pictures, I do my Instagram posts, I do all of the stuff that I'm supposed to do. I still got records. I got receipts. I would go. If I wanted to interview somebody, what's the difference in the person that's sitting there? It's like, I can't go up to that person and interview that person. And the person that says, let me go over there and say, hey, oh my God, I love your outfit. That looks amazing. Can I interview you for... Yes, of course. You know, that's how I got a lot of the interviews I got when I was in the fashion, doing a lot of my fashion stuff. I just walked up to the people and I would ask. But sometimes in our process, especially having been walking with God and the Lord take us through our wilderness and we see real enemies and we go through it, and then God's like, I'm going to need you to not approach people that carelessly anymore. And you'd be like, but God, I used to... And God's like, I'm going to need you to not approach people that carelessly. I'm trying to protect you right here. Until you meet that one person that tries to chew your head off, eat you up and spit you out. And that was the person that was pretending to be nice to you. And then you have that experience once, twice, and you're like, wait a minute. I'm not liking this experience. Hear the Lord. I think I'm going to sit down and be, complacent again. I'm going to be complacent because I can't afford to ask people no more questions like that, because every time I do that, I keep having flashbacks of the person that used to bite my head off. Oh, what was that? Was that sabotage or was that fear? And then you go back and you sit down again. So you're going through your experience. Then comes the phase where the Lord's saying, okay, I've taken you through the wilderness. I've taken you through the dry season. I've taken you there. You had the experience. You know what to do. You were doing it before I took you through the wilderness. Now I'm saying, okay, I'm going to need for you to go back and do that again. I need you to start again and do that again. One, the first thing that we become offended by is, God, you want me to start again? What do you mean start again? I was just sitting here watching Melissa Romero, who just said that she's taken time away and leaving a channel that she has 212,000 subscribers. And she's walking away from it to start a completely new channel. Because the energy and the placement of what that channel was about is no longer where her heart is. She's evolved. Some of us evolve and we be like, I'm not willing to start over again. What you mean? I just put all this work and all this time in and you telling me start over again? Complacency will say, I'm going to stay right here. Evolution will say, okay, I'm going to start over there. Your floor, your ceiling just became your floor. You've reached the capacity of what it was that you were doing previously. Now you're starting again. On the next level, but from the bottom. Complacency will say, I don't want to start again. I'll stay right here. I'm good. And God's like, I need you to start again. But I need you to also trust that in you starting again, you're not going to take as long as it took you to get from where you were before up to this point. Because I'm going to move with you this time. And the lessons you learn there, you're going to be able to apply here. Is that making sense to you? But you have to do what? Move first. A lot of us are afraid of moving. And some of the movement that God's going to take you into isn't going to look like movement at all. Because when God starts you, because sometimes, and I saw this happen, Tracy J. Is it Tracy? Tracy J. Morgan? Tracy Morgan J. Tracy J. We're just going to call her Tracy J. She had a ministry. It was thriving. It was doing well. She had her own apartment. She had her own content that she was working on. And the Lord said, I need you to move from here and go over there because I've moved over there. And she's like, but God, I have my office. I have my apartment. And God, you're telling me to move home. How many of y'all went back to your homes while God prepared you for your next season? The dry place. You had to walk away from where things were booming to go to a dry place. You have to trust God. You do. You can't be complacent. It's complacent. A butterfly even has to fight its way out of the cocoon. Move. Move. I'm about to run out of time on this one, but we ain't done. We're going to talk about fear in the next one. So until next time.